With Radio Algeria International, you will not miss a single major political or economic event. Radio Algeria International, our voice in the world.
This is the English service of Radio Algeria International. It's time for the news.
Entrusted by the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, Foreign Minister Ahmed Attaf is participating today in the 51st session of the Council of Foreign Ministers of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, which kicked off today in Istanbul, Turkey. Algeria's permanent representative to the UN, Ammar bin Jama, has strongly condemned the Israeli attacks against Iran, calling them unjustified and a flagrant violation of UN Charter. And Iran says it has launched a series of drone and missile attacks in retaliation for Israeli strikes, destroying several targets. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail from Radio Algeria International. First in our news, entrusted by the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, the Minister of State in charge of Foreign Affairs, the National Community Abroad and African Affairs, Ahmed Attaf, is participating today in the 51st session of the Council of Foreign Ministers of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, which kicked off today in Istanbul, Turkey. During the session, the participating ministers will address issues of vital importance to the Islamic world, particularly the developments in the Middle East following the recent Israeli aggression against the Islamic Republic of Iran, as well as the ongoing genocidal war against the Palestinian people in the Gaza Strip. In addition to the Middle East conflict, the meeting's agenda includes discussions on various political, regulatory, and development issues affecting the organization member states. Common positions are expected to be adopted on major regional and global crises. On the eve of the session, Minister Ahmed Attaf also participated in an extraordinary meeting of the Council of the Arab League, also held in Istanbul, devoted to examining the consequences of the recent Israeli aggression against Iran. Algeria's permanent representative to the UN, Ammar bin Jama, has strongly condemned the Israeli attacks against Iran, calling them unjustified and a flagrant violation of the UN Charter. Addressing the UN Security Council meeting on threats to international peace and security in New York, the Algerian ambassador stressed that Israel's attacks have targeted Iranian nuclear facilities under IAEA supervision, jeopardizing the credibility of the nuclear non-proliferation system. Let's listen to Mr. bin Jama.
Israel's attack against Iran is an unprovoked and unjustified act. It constitutes a flagrant violation of the Charter of the United Nations. This is imperative that everyone returns to a path of reason. Negotiation between the E3, the European three, and Iran. Negotiation between US and Iran with the facilitation of Oman remain constructive option available for diplomacy. Algeria has always believed in the power of dialogue, and we echo the call of the Secretary General in this regard. Even in time of heightening tension, mediation and Charter's principles remain our unique, viable tools.
Mr. bin Jama slammed the international community's silence and warned that justifying such attacks undermines international law. In this regard, he cited statements by IAEA Director General Rafael Grossi, who claimed to have no evidence that Iran is developing a nuclear weapon. He reiterated that diplomatic channels, such as negotiations between Iran and Western powers, remain the most viable option to stop escalation. The diplomat also denounced the double standard regarding international humanitarian law, highlighting the serious violations committed in Gaza, such as the murder of thousands of civilians, medical workers, and journalists. He also recalled the Security Council's inaction in the face of previous attacks, such as the Israeli attack on the Iraqi nuclear plant in 1981. He concluded his remarks by urging the Security Council to assume its responsibilities in the face of these acts that threaten world peace, warning that passivity cannot be an option. And Iran says it has launched a series of drone and missile attacks in retaliation for Israeli strikes destroying several targets. The Islamic Revolution Guards were quoted by local media saying that military targets and operational and logistics centers were hit by the drone and missile attacks. This came as the Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi condemned the Israeli attacks he rejected as war crimes and crimes against humanity. Addressing the UN Human Rights Council, he affirmed that the Israeli authorities had launched an unprovoked attack against his country, blaming them for carrying out acts of aggression against Iran after perpetrating a horrible genocide in Palestine. The Iranian diplomacy chief stated that Iran's nuclear facilities were hit, although they were placed under the monitoring of the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA. Such attacks, he went on to say, constituted a violation of the international law and could further trigger serious radioactive leaks that will have disastrous consequences for both the environment and public health. In this connection, the Director General of the IAEA, Rafael Grossi, warned that an attack on the Bushehr nuclear plant would have the most serious repercussions. And during a meeting of the UN Security Council held via video conference, Grossi stressed that an attack on the facility might have potential impacts extending to hundreds of kilometers, while underscoring the major fears expressed by several countries of the region. Reacting to the escalation in the region, the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres urged all the parties to the conflict to take action rapidly to prevent a new war in the Middle East. Addressing a meeting of the UN Security Council, he stressed the necessity to pool efforts in order to safeguard international peace and security. Let's listen to Mr. Guterres.
There are moments when the choices before us are not just consequential, they are defining. Moments when the direction taken will shape not only the fate of nations, but potentially our collective future. This is such a moment. To the parties to the conflict, the potential parties to the conflict, and to the Security Council as the representative of the international community, I have a simple and clear message. Give peace a chance.
And in this respect, the Iranian authorities have expressed their readiness to resume direct talks on the country's nuclear program, but only if the Israeli attacks were stopped. In the Middle East, at least 24 Palestinians were killed in new airstrikes or attacks carried out today by the Israeli occupying forces against various parts of the Gaza Strip. According to the news agency Wafa, several others were wounded in the Israeli attack that mainly hit the central areas of El Zaytun and Nusayrat, as well as Khan Yunis in the southern part of the enclave. On the International Refugee Day, the president of the Association of the Families of Sahrawi Detainees, Ammar Abdeslam, has stressed that Algeria has been committed since 1975 to international law in guaranteeing the delivery of necessary products to the Sahrawi refugees living in the 5 refugee camps located in the Algerian city of Tindouf. Let's listen to him.
Indeed, since 1975, more than half of the Sahrawi people have been living in exile in camps near the Algerian city of Tindouf, fleeing from the Moroccan invasion and brutality and illegal occupation of Western Sahara. The Algerian state, which is a state committed to international law, opened from the very beginning its doors to these victims and offered them refuge and unwavering solidarity. This situation is the result of the brutal aggression carried out by Morocco, which brought in large numbers of settlers, and the EU Commission admitted that around 75% of the current inhabitants of Western Sahara occupied territories are colonizers, and this is a blatant violation of the international humanitarian law and the Geneva Convention, paving the way for the systematic looting of the Sahrawi resources such as phosphate and fish, which are exploited by the Moroccan regime in complicity with companies from the European Union. This situation will end only by allowing the Sahrawi people to return to their land and exercise their full right to self-determination and independence.
And finally, the event, Algeria's capital of Hassaniya Culture 2025, has kicked off here in Algiers under the theme Hassaniya Unites Us. The event is marked by the participation of several political, intellectual, literary, and artistic figures from Algeria, the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic, and the Islamic Republic of Mauritania. During a press briefing, the Minister of Culture and Arts, Souhair Belailu, outlined the details of the cultural and artistic program for this event, which began today at the Mufti Zakaria Palace of Culture. Let's listen to him.
The event, Algiers, capital of Hassaniya culture, is a very important station in the path of consolidating common cultural awareness and strengthening the bonds of brotherliness and integration among peoples, based on a deep awareness that culture, in all its manifestations, is a bridge for communication, a tool for acquaintance, and a pillar of the pillars of development and stability, especially for living together in peace.
And with this, we come to the end of this news bulletin for today. Time now for a weekly program, starting with my colleague Mariam Bershi with a cultural program, and then it will be followed by another program by my colleague Aziz Agassias. For me, I'll meet you again tomorrow for a fresh edition of our news bulletin. Thank you.